T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, chaps and chapettes. How are we doing? I'm joined by Mike, the only man I've ever met who can dribble a bowling ball. A man who never sleeps. He only waits. Today, we're taking a look at the FLSun. I thought
you were really pleased with that, weren't you?
Oh, I'm really pleased with that. I really like that. So today, we are taking a look at the FLSun QQ-S Pro. What makes it Pro, I hear you ask, over the regular QQ-S? Well, there's a 32-bit motherboard in this one, and it's automatic bed leveling. It also says on their website that it uses a high-precision linear optical axis with self-lubricating graphite bearings. And that sounds like nonsense. So let's get this open. It's quite a large box. So obviously last time we reviewed the Q5, and that was pretty cool. The problem is that...
Well.
Pardon?
It works well.
It works well, yeah. It's a solid machine. The only problem really is just that it's just not really big enough for a lot of the stuff that we do. So we ended up giving it away as part of our giveaway. FLSun were very angry about this. They were very sad that we no longer had a printer, so they immediately sent us this one. This is a piece of wood in it.
Packing wood.
Look at that. I'm keeping that for the laser engraver. Look at that. Oh, I'm keeping that for the laser engraver. Score. And it's straight. My. Right, okay. Right. So the build volume on this one is a mystery. I believe it's 255 by 300, but I feel like I've made that up now. So bear with me 1 second.
No, I feel like that's what you told me.
Well, I might have made that up then as well.
Maybe, yeah.
255 by 360. There we go. I was kind of close. So let's take a little look. See where we're at. We've got a bag of stuff. So this is $339. That's an American plug. They also include an English plug, which is good. Oh, okay. Oh, and this is already attached. Okay. All right. So, oh, they include a spatula that we will more than likely end up engraving, making another custom one. Oh, a nice spatula as well. Look at that. If you'd have told me that a few years ago that I'd have been live on YouTube rating a spatula that I'd received, I'd probably have said you were having a funny turn. But here we are, and it is a nice spatula. So
I wouldn't have. I've seen you get excited about really, really, really crap things.
I don't get excited about it. It's just nice to have a nice one. That's all. It's nice to have nice things. Oh, that's a Titan. Oh, this is the lid. We've got.
And this one has got a screen on the bottom instead of the top, which I think is better.
Okay, I already feel like this is quite large. We might... Oh, what are these? Well, the Q5 was very easy to build.
Now, the reason that printer on the wall is not printing is because we currently don't have any swords we need to print.
Yeah. Why is that printer on the wall not printing? Yeah, at the moment, so I'm doing at the moment. I'm doing a large. I'm doing a print from a from a Patreon called Berserk, but it's like B3Ds. These rods are huge. Yeah, I'm printing a. Oh, it's packed well. Jeez. I'm printing a large Osriel model from Berserk, and at the moment there's just nothing on it that I need to print that's long. Hello, Carl. So for everybody who entered our competition the other week, who won hoodies, your hoodies and t-shirts and everything are in the post. Obviously, our American friends will need to wait a little while longer to receive theirs than everybody else does. Right. But everybody else should be receiving theirs this week. So this is quite strange. Okay, so let's pop this here. So you can see, like, the whole assembly is all already together. Oh, this is going to be very difficult to get apart. Okay, that's one. That's two. Okay. So one would assume. Let's get the instructions.
Yeah, might be worth it.
I'm already concerned about the thickness of this paper versus the thickness of this book. I feel like the pages are way thicker than the instructions are going to be. Right, so. Okay, so we go like that. Oh, this is already very dull.
That's probably a good reason why they put the screen on the bottom of it now.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm getting. Okay. Well, I've started now, so I suppose we'll just have to keep going.
No, we just sent Daniel one really, really large one that the entire family can get in.
Well, that is interesting, isn't it? Right, let's try this again, shall we? So you go up like that. And then you go up like that. Okay. Okay.
And this is not even the biggest one they do, is it?
Well, I think the Super Racer is slightly taller. I think the Super Racer is slightly taller. But don't quote me on that. So I'm curious as to. Snappy. So. Okay. So there's like motor things on. There's like motor attachments on every. Oh, okay. They just go up here, do they? Why don't they just go down? Okay. How do you know which way around it goes? I suppose the FLSun logo goes at the front, doesn't it? That makes sense. Okay, let's open some of these up. Get your little bag of accessories, as always, with the obligatory pair of snippers. Oh, we don't even need them. Okay.
Oh, the SR's taller, but a smaller build area.
Oh, okay. So this is the biggest one they do then, I suppose. The SR is tall. QQ-S is bigger, and it's got a bigger build volume too. Well, so this is 360 on this one. So... do you want to just look up on Amazon, Mike, what size an SR is? Because I want to know now.
It's giving you loads of information apart from what the actual...
Apart from the build volume.
Right. 330 by 260 high.
By 260?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
so it is small.
No, sorry, 260 by 330 high.
What?
260 across, 330 high.
330 high.
Yeah.
Right, okay. And this is 255 and 360.
So this is bigger.
So it is bigger. Marginally, I'll point out. But yes,
but the Super Racer has the screen that's detachable.
Yes, that is true. And that is very cool. So I do commend them for the way that they've sort of tried to make this as easy as possible, but I don't know that they've achieved it. So these all plug in down here. This comes down here. Come on. They've got some really annoying twisty things that quite surprisingly difficult to figure out how they come off. There we go, right. Okay, so end stops are all connected. Going to have to they go at the top then, so there must be some little bolts, thumb screws. That'll do the job. The SR screen is annoying. It beeps at you when you can't turn it off. No, but the SR screen is movable, and that's the point, right? So the difference really is that the SR screen. Oh, hold on, I better put these plates on. The SR screen is movable, whereas the one on this, it isn't. So you're just sort of stuck with where the screen is. And if wherever you place it, the screen doesn't work for you, well, tough, because that's where the screen is. Whereas on the SR, obviously you can move it around. Looking to see how.
Do you know if it's the 2020 version or the 2021 version we've got?
2020 has an umbilical cord that went through the top, and the 2021 came out under the lid. They also replaced the. Well, this has an umbilical cord on it. So I would say this is the 2020. I would say this is the 2020. The 2021 had the umbilical cord that went through the top, and the 2021 came out under the lid. They also replaced the. Well, this is the thing that I've got. It goes up into the lid. So I don't know. I'm also not 100% sure exactly how you're supposed to stop that from coming out again afterwards, but we'll cross that bridge in a minute. I'll tell you what, it comes with a fair chunk of spares, which is concerning. But one thing at a time. One thing at a time. So,
but it does mean you can get the spares.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So, for those who have been following the channel, you'll know that we got a Hydra from TiVo Up.
Make sure you say the up, otherwise people throw pissy fit.
So, okay, so look, I really wanted to like it. The design of the thing is basically a Sidewinder X1 from Artillery, and that's not really a surprise. When TiVo, the original brand, went under, a large amount of the engineers went over to Artillery, so it's not a huge shock that they look very similar. There should be a twist-on part to hold the umbilical cord. Yeah, there might be. Nope. I'll have a look in the box in a second, but I don't think there is. Anyway, so it's basically an Artillery Sidewinder, and I would absolutely recommend that you go and buy an Artillery Sidewinder instead of this machine, because the amount of issues that we've had with it have been unprecedented. Like,
we've had the breakdowns you'd expect after 18 months of using it in the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it's
and getting the replacement parts is not proving easy.
Well, they just haven't been. Right. Like, we've reported what we've had as an issue, and as yet, they haven't said they're sending us any of the replacement parts we've asked for. Which, again, for a company that is trying very hard to sort of win over a community, is not a great start. Oh, 1 second, because what's happened here? I feel like they've gotten twisted. Rick, I just want to say, as a side note, I genuinely love your YouTube name of just Rick Standen. I void warranties, which is very easily the tagline of this channel, because we do that a lot. What is that noise?
It's the Sidewinders just started making that noise.
Is it the? Oh, I tell you what it might be. Is it the spool on the? Is it the spool holder scratching on? like squeaking on the because I have it on mine sometimes. Is the spool literally squeaking on the spool holder thing?
Maybe.
All right, let's see if we can get some of these on at the same time. That sounds more like the spool than anything else. Spool rubbing in the plastic mount. Yeah, I thought so. I've got the T-shirt that says it as well. Brilliant. Yeah, I think we'd struggle to do a warranty repair on pretty much. I want to be clear, guys. I'm 6'1", right? It's not like. Come on. Have you got any lithium grease knocking about?
No.
Because I just chuck a bit of lithium grease on my
I tell you what I usually use. You know, you get like the tube of like grease that comes with some printers for some reason.
Yeah, that's the lithium grease, yeah.
Yeah, I usually just squirt that on it, but I haven't done it for quite a while, so it's probably all worn off.
All right. Get these screwed in. Come on. I tell you what, for a relatively simple, so I don't know what it means by graphite bearings on
self-lubing.
Like it's not linear rails.
Unless it's graphite powder, because that is like a lubricant.
I gave the TiVo, the Homer Odysseus, to my friend. He has no experience. I never had a printer, and he thinks he can make it better. It's a bold statement. He certainly couldn't make the thing any worse. But to say that he can, having never had a printer, he could immediately improve it. I mean, it's technically possible, but you could just do a bunch of modifications that you could get on pretty much any Ender series, and that machine would be better. Yeah, so the Little Monster was something we were in talks with TiVo about, but to be honest with you, after having had the Hydra, I don't want any more of their stuff. I don't want to review the Little Monster or the other machines they've got coming up. So I mean, this will all be in the review, but just so we're really clear about what we're talking about here, right? Since I've had the machine, I've had 5 different versions of firmware to flash on it, which is not great straight out of the gate. I had to replace both the X and the Z flat ribbon cables because they broke. The BL Touch didn't work out of the box.
Replace the BL Touch.
So I had to replace the BL Touch. I have had to replace the silicone heat bed because that stopped heating.
You couldn't get a TiVo one, so we put a X1
yeah,
one.
so I had to put an artillery one on it because TiVo, again, have yet to send me any of the parts that I have requested that they send me so I can fix a brand new machine. Like, we're not talking, I wasn't given a return or anything like that. I was given I was supposed to have been given anyway, a brand new machine, and like, it's bad. Then what else went wrong? So whenever the print finishes, the screen just freezes and you have to restart the machine. I don't know why, but you literally can't get out of the screen. So you have to just restart the machine, turn it on and off again. And the filament sensor randomly triggers all the time. I don't know why it does that either. So all in, they are things that I would expect to be going wrong on a machine that was 18 months old.
And
18 months old, and I would say, do you know what? Fair play. Like, you know, everything's not forever. Like, you know, you should expect to have to do some maintenance on your machine and all of that, you know, blah-de-blah nonsense. I'm not, so I want to be clear, Matt, that, and this is a point that I really feel compelled to make. I don't care about TiVo Up. I don't care about them as a company. I don't care about them as individual people any more than I care about regular people. You know, I am not, and I was never making a video for TiVo Up. I was making a video for the community, so that the community could see what TiVo were doing and all of that good stuff. That was what I was making a video for. I was never making a video for TiVo. Oh, okay. Well, this is fun. How does this go in? Is it like what? Sorry. Tighten the belts. My Sidewinder X1 is one of the best printers after my Viper, but the custom extruder board broken, so wait on a replacement for the board from the Ethereal 3D project. You should get one for yours. So, okay, so I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to admit to being really wasteful. So, one of the things I love about the Sidewinder is,
and we've always done it.
Yeah. So, and I have always done it. So, so what I really love about the Sidewinder, free betting slip in the box. So what I really love about the Sidewinder is that there are 3 screws that hold the extruder onto the X carriage, and those 3 screws, you take them off, and the whole tool head comes off. For £25 on AliExpress, if you can wait 2 weeks, you get a whole new extruder. You get the Volcano, you get the nozzles, you get a brand new Titan with brand new extruder gears, a brand new extruder, the fan, all of it, the whole thing. 3 screws back on, plug the cable back in, bosh, you're back up and printing. Like, the reality is that there are times where, because we do the channel, we are under some sort of really tight deadlines sometimes, or we're trying to get something done, and you know, and we have a project that just needs to be finished,
or we just don't have time to mess around trying to diagnose a problem. Yeah,
and I have to admit, we do tend to, I'm gonna have to put this on the floor for a second so I can put this extruder on. You know, we just buy a new extruder, and I know we shouldn't do, and I know it's wasteful, and I know it's super over the top, but we do, and it works. And I'll tell you what, it's fantastic.
And we've been doing it since we've had them.
Yeah. I really love the Sidewinder. I mean, it's easily one of my workhorses. My other workhorse at the moment, and this has been a bit of a surprise. My other workhorse at the moment has been my Artillery Hornet. Now, I'm not by any stretch, I'm not an artillery fanboy, right? I really like the brand, but I'm not really a fanboy of any of any company. If I'm you know, I think there's plenty of people who, there's plenty of companies that make a lot of silly choices on certain things. So I tend not to be a fanboy of any, but I'm really impressed with the Hornet at the moment. So, okay. That's on. This has got a peel. So it's a carborundum glass bed, which looks very nice. We've got our Titan extruder up here. Right, yeah. And then we've got this little bad boy here as a spool holder, which I will now attempt to figure out exactly where it goes, which is going to be really annoying. It goes in that up your pack. James keeps going on about it, so I might say. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. If I was buying one now, I probably would buy the X2. If I was buying a brand new one, I'd probably buy an X2, simply because I think, you know, the X2 is a natural evolution of where, you know, of where artillery started with the X1. It's got a lot of improvements. I don't really care about the auto bed leveling, if I'm honest, but I do care quite a lot about the. I do care quite a lot about the improved bed leveling and all of that stuff. So the only one annoying thing is about the bed is you have to replace the lot if you want to change it. Well, yes, that is true. I mean, I would probably debate that you shouldn't really be changing. It's not really a reason to change the whole bed unless it breaks. And on the X2, much better designed. So you shouldn't have to change it. And you don't have to either, because I've changed just the silicone pad on mine before. I screw-on connectors for heater cartridges, so a lot more reliable as a connection for a BL Touch. I have the Hornet, which doesn't get used much, and 2 unbuilt printers. So I really like the Hornet. I was initially skeptical, as were a lot of people, about how long the tool head was going to last with that sort of custom little bit of Bowden tube in it. But I'll be honest and say that at the moment, I've not had any issues. On about the QQ-S. Oh, I suppose you would have to change the whole thing, yeah. Sidewinder AC, so it heats instantly. It does heat really quickly. I will say that if you put a thermal vision camera on it, it doesn't heat very consistently. So depending on whether or not that's an issue for you, it might not be. It might, you know, it's not an issue for PLA, and it's not been an issue for me when I've been printing. When I've been printing on like when I've been printing PETG or anything like that. I would imagine it could be an issue for somebody who was printing. Say, if you tried to print ABS with it or something, I would imagine that would be an issue. It does heat very quickly, though. How much is the X2? So the X2, Mike, can you look it up? I think, I want to say the X2 is like 440?
428.
Ah, it's £12 off. 428. Which I maintain, personally, I don't think is that bad. For what you get, you're getting a lot of machine for that money, in my opinion. But dealer's choice. I'm going to be using FLSun filament on this. Is there an X2 Pro or just an X2? No, there's just an X2.
You can get a assembled X2. That's £518.
Pardon?
You can get one that's already assembled. It's 518.
Okay, what's the build volume? James, are you just confusing me with Google? Like, an X2 is a 300 by 300
By 400.
By 400. Oh, okay. So it's CR10 size, basically. There we go. Come on. Right, cool. Okay. I would say the X2 is the next one with more plastic parts. So, Rick, I would disagree. There are a couple of differences that to me make a difference. The one that I really care about is that they redesigned the bed. So the bed cable no longer dangles about at the back. It folds backwards on a rigid almost like a articulated like what's it called?
Belt strain, like.
Yeah, it's got built-in strain relief, basically. So one of the issues the X1 did have, and I'm under no illusions, it's not a perfect machine, right? One of the issues it did have was the bed thermistor had a tendency to go chain. Thank you, a drag chain. That's it. Yeah. Is that going to be a good peel? I bet it's not. Oh, I'm already going to be dissatisfied with this now. I have to throw this whole machine away. This is a bad peel. Yeah, so the bed goes into the machine much better. I don't really care about the auto bed level. I very rarely have to re-level my X1. It's just not something the machine requires a lot of. They have got their own board in it now, for all that really matters. I think before it was an MKS Gen L. No, it wasn't. It was maybe an MKS Gen S. But anyway, it was an all right board before. It's an all right board now. They've done a little bit better at segregating the electronics on the inside. So I know that Thomas Salandra, another YouTuber, he did a fairly scathing review of the inner workings of it. They hadn't done a lot of grounding and all sorts of other things. Tools, auto level. Yep.
Has this got the same little clippy on bit?
It does indeed. Click. Do like the way these level. So X2 is a Ruby board. You have to put it into DOF mode by similar to the Hornet if you want to do the firmware. Yeah, I mean, admittedly, again, I haven't touched the firmware, so I haven't had any cause to sort of think of it as an issue, I suppose. But let's say the X2. The X2 and the X1 are probably two of my more favorite domestic grade machines. I really like the way they work. I really like the features.
Easy to get parts.
And so Artillery have quite a good like ticket system where you can just go onto their site, you say the issue, they ask for a picture, you send them that, and then they send you the parts. They normally take about a week and a half to arrive. They're really good. And I've said before, like, I don't expect really any machine to be perfect all the time, right? That's a very high standard to expect any printer to adhere to at the price that you are paying as well. Just turn this a little bit so that you guys can see it doing its jazz. Oh, that's worse. What do I mean?
That's better.
Okay. Did he take you up on the offer of your Prusa today? Hi, Nigel. So This is just going through its leveling exercise. So what I do like about these is that the bed leveling sensor is this little clip-on sensor that when you're done leveling the bed, you just put it out of the way and then that's it. You're done leveling. It doesn't have to go through it every single time. It doesn't have to. It's not sort of, you know, something that's going to get broken. You just literally. No, I'm just helping someone. Right, let's see about adding a new printer to Cure, and let's see whether or not they've got one. So
they had the other one, didn't they?
They did indeed. And FLSun. Well, they've got the QQ-S, and I'm going to assume that the profile would be the same. I don't think size-wise or anything they're any different. You can use the QQ-S. Yeah, I figured as much. I can't imagine. I mean, again, the Pro version of this, it's got a 32-bit board. Okay. For all I care. All right. I don't know what it means by it's got self-lubricating graphite bearings on. It says here, it uses high precision linear optical axis, which just means that you can see it going straight up, doesn't it? I feel like that scene in Blackadder when he says, oh, well, what you're talking about in terms of privies is the latest in full frontal orifices with a large capacious gutter below. And he goes, you mean you crap out of the window? Yes. And I don't know what a linear optical axis with self-lubricating graphite bearings are. I don't know what that means. Because they're linear rods and they're fine. Like they're fine. QQ-S and the Ender 3. Yeah, you're not wrong, Rick. That is fair. It's the same sort of deal. There we go. So that now just attaches. You can store that away, which I will do up the top, and then we will drag a calibration cube in here. He said. Try and remember where he's put all his calibration cubes. There it is. There we go, little cube in there. So, supports are off. We're at a 0.2. What speed are we at? 60. No, thanks. Let's go to 100. Travel, yep. Cooling, yep. Supports, no. Don't want a brim, but we'll have a skirt. So that we can see how this is doing with that. You get an SD card, you get a spare nozzle, and you get the obligatory tiny SD card reader that will break in maybe a week, if you're lucky. Oh, it's just a USB thumb drive. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Is it? Oh, okay. Fair enough. That's a removable disk drive. Yep. Take that out. Oh, move to 0. Please remove the bed leveling sensor. Done. This is where we find out I haven't got a bit of paper. This'll do. Adjust the Z. Oh. There we go, 185. Let's save that. Let's pop this. Oh. Into there. There we go. And then we'll see what this baby can do. I mean, a pretty easy setup by anybody's standards, to be fair. What are you breaking now? Yes. So, Rick, that's the same as I was just looking at. So I was looking this bigger than the Super Racer. So Akuma Mods. So, yeah, not by much. So this is 255 by 360. And we established that the Super Racer is not.
Super Racer's 260, 260, 350.
Bear with me, caller. Yeah, 260 by 300. So this is 255 by 360. The Super Racer is 260 by 300. So this has got a higher Z, but a slightly smaller build plate.
10 mil.
330, is it? No, the QQ-S is 255 by 360. And the Super Racer says on Amazon that it's 260 by 300. I'm actually home for today. Good Lord. Let's see how bored Matt is. So I'm just waiting for this to heat up. The SR is 330. Well, it says on Amazon that it's 260 by 300. No, it doesn't. It says it's two. That's very annoying. So, I want to be really clear. In the title, it says 260 by 300. And then if you go down to the description, it says 260 by 330. So that's not my fault. That's not my fault. Now I need to check the inside of this one to make sure this is right. And the build volume in this is 255 by 360. And the Super Racer is 260 by 330. So the Super Racer is 5 mil wider, but 30 mil shorter. There. Okay. So just waiting for the extruder to heat up. Yeah, that's purging nicely. And we'll see how this does. The problem is with it being linear rods, it can't be that quiet. Like, not really. I feel like it's going to end up being, yeah. Well, I think I might have smashed the level right out of the gate. But is this the new one they were getting ready to announce? No, it's not, Matt. So FLSun are in the process of working on the new SR. So the new SR Pro. And I believe that will be their biggest printer yet. And it will have all the features that the SR does. They were talking about, and don't quote me on it because I don't know that it's happening, but feel free to flood their Facebook with this possibly fake news. that they were going to do clipper out of the box, which is very interesting if they do, because I know people who have got some insane speeds on the clipper on an SR. Yes, yeah, Matt. So I think they're doing a 300 build plate and a 500 and a 500Z. James, I don't know. Right. So a direct drive. The problem with doing a direct drive on a Delta is that if you do a direct drive on a Delta, you're putting a lot of mass on the tool head. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it. You can. They've been looking for alternatives for the Raspberry Pi. I think everybody's looking for alternatives to Raspberry Pi at the moment. I know Big Tree Tech has bought their Pi Pad or Pad 5 or something out. That's meant to be good. It has to be a flying extruder on a Delta. Yeah, so Rick, technically speaking, if you got something like an LDO planetary, something super small and super light, I would bet you could do it. But it would have to be something really, really light. So it would have to be like an LDO planetary one. Don't get the Creality Wi-Fi box. Nobody wants that. Otherwise, all you need to do, if you want to get a Creality Wi-Fi box, then what you could do is just record yourself doing everything that you're doing on your home computer and just send it to China once a week, so that you could just watch you. And just be like, "This is what I'm doing. Don't have to worry about it." Like, they've had like 4 major security breaches on the Creality Wi-Fi box back end. Like, that's a lot. Everyone went mad when Spaghetti Doctor or Spaghetti Detective or whatever it is on Octoprint had one. The Creality box technically will take clipper, yeah. They said to me 180 millimeters a second, 300 by 300 by 400, direct drive, all metal hot ends, and clipper. That's ambitious. 300 by 300 by 400, fair enough. It's slightly larger than this. It's about sort of 50 mil extra on this and a little bit extra on the Z. Direct drive on a Delta, because of the flying hot end, you would realistically need to do either a really super light LDO, or if you did linear rails, you could maybe get away with so Rick James is saying that's what they were going to do on the new SR Pro. I think they're going to 500 on the Z personally, but the problem is that if you take into account that this is a 360, right? It's 800 tall, right? So if you're doing a 500Z, you're going to be over a meter for the entire printer. And I don't know about you, Mike, but I don't think I've got somewhere I could put a meter tall printer.
Oh, I could get a meter tall printer in. I just won't be able to reach the top of it.
Yeah, you ever need to change the filament, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I'd get one if they did it. I think I probably would as well, to be honest. I mean, this is now of basically TiVo's Little Monster in height. Yes. So the TiVo Little Monster was like 1.1 meters. It's a floor-mounted printer. Yeah. And like, look, I'm not saying they can't do it. I have no reason to believe they can't. And if you actually put the time in to sit down and design it correctly, I suppose they could do it. I think it's more likely to be 300 by 300 by 400 than it is to be the 500. But that's still going to be close to a meter tall. I mean, as it is, this is a 360 and this is 800 tall. So, like, I tell you what, it's smashing through this. So this is PLA plus, and it's printing at 200. So it probably shouldn't be. It should probably be printing. I couldn't put my printer on the floor. I can get down to it, but at my age, you can't go. So, so the thing to remember with, oh well, I suppose you still got to remove your print though. Yeah, so the SR had the detachable screen, didn't it? So you could take the screen off and then use it and then put it wherever you wanted it. But a flex steel bed would be good. Yeah, but a flex steel bed wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. They're useful, but I'm trying to think what we've got that's got a flex steel on it. I don't think we've got anything, have we? Oh, the longer. Sorry, we put one. We put one on the longer, and I don't know that I've really cared about it since I put it on.
Prusa.
Oh yeah, the Prusa, which isn't really a Prusa anymore because it's now a bear, and it isn't even a bear anymore because it's got a laser on it, and it's not a laser anymore because it doesn't work.
So, yeah, that sums it up.
Yeah, as I say, don't be wrong. I know there's plenty of machines that have the flex steels on. I just don't know if it's a feature I'm bothered about.
I suppose it depends on how much of an hurry you're in. Like, if like us, where you do longer prints, you're not sitting there waiting for the minute it finishes. By the time you go to the printer, it's generally cooled down and just lifts off anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think a flex steel plate would be a yeah. My Voron has got a flex steel plate. Sorry, but again, I don't know that it was ever really a deal breaker for me that it had. All I care about is that it's a surface that's got good adhesion, right? 101 Hero Delta printer all the way. Check it out if you want to. Oh God, is it gonna be terrible? It's gonna be terrible, isn't it? 101 Hero Delta. 101 Hero Delta. Oh God, I already don't like it. It's a funny color. $99. Oh God, is it made entirely out of plastic? No. Oh, that's ugly. Oh, I tell you what, though, they've managed to get a direct drive in it. Bet that most of what they've printed, they haven't. Most of what they've got there as prints, they haven't printed, or maybe that.
I don't like that.
You don't like that?
Yeah.
They've got a direct drive on it. I mean, fair play to them. They haven't got any part cooling though, have they? By the way, they don't give you a lot of pictures of the extruder. It's just sort of you I don't know. You guess. You figure it out. It's all plastics, and the motors break if you move it by hand. Excellent. What a feature. I know what they'd say to that. They'd say, "Don't move it by hand. It's not designed to be moved by hand. That's your fault." So bear in mind that when I'm printing this cube, I haven't done anything yet. I haven't calibrated the E-steps. I just literally slung a cube on here at 100 millimeters a second, and we're just seeing what it's doing. Like, it may be awful. It might not be. I'll tell you what, it looks passable, though. A lot of shaking going on. It's only at 20 mil. To be fair, there's probably a lot of shaking because it's on this desk. So this desk is on casters. The casters are locked down, but the desk isn't very...
It's top heavy.
Sure, the whole idea of a Delta is the head's meant to be light. So wouldn't a direct drive massive make you heavier? Depends what you make your direct drive out of. But there's no way they've got a full... There's no way they've got a full pancake in that. Or unless they have remotely mount. I really can't tell where.
I like it. Are you on their official page?
I guess so,
Because
yeah.
when you look on the front page, like when you look at it, there's some pictures of it that ain't very clear, and then the bottom one is just like someone's drawn it and coloured it in with pencils.
Someone just drawn it in crayon. Oh, that's excellent. Well done. Oh, I like this. The printer can be enjoyed by the young and old alike. Finally, the printer to bring us all together as an age gap. Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, $99, like, geez. Well, actually, it says starts at $99.
It's, well, when you go on the store, it says $104.
It's 104. Yep, that's.
But you can buy all the pieces separately or just buy the kit.
Oh, cool. Yeah, great. That's how it looks in real life. Oh, no. Yeah, it does look bad.
I think we should get one.
You think we should get one?
Yeah.
I
want to see how bad it is.
You fill your boots. If you would like to get one, as long as you don't take the money out of the YouTube account, you can buy one and then you can assemble it and we'll see what happens. LGX Orbiter and Name 14 would be light enough. Yeah, they would be. So the LGX Orbiter is very quickly becoming a sort of a motor of choice for a lot of manufacturers. Hi, Learn Mate Repeat. So we're almost at 97%. Just doing the top layers. So I've got a bit of elephant's foot, so I was perhaps a bit aggressive in my bed leveling. But oh, that's stuck on there. Oh, I tell you what, for 100 millimeters a second, that isn't terrible. 1 second.
That's pretty true. I don't think anything is as bad as a Weebox Lucky
That's a
Box.
Weebox, no. So, is this going to focus? Is it going to focus? So that is 100 millimeters a second. Come on. And that is not terrible. So a little bit of elephant's foot on the bottom. I've been a little bit of aggressive on the bed leveling, but I'll tell you what, that is not bad. I'm not upset with that at all for 100. Yeah, as I say, I definitely should have watched my bed leveling a little bit, but ooh, toasty bed. But that does the job. So, I mean, that was not a long build, right? That was probably, I mean, that was 16 minutes to print, probably 10 minutes to, dare you do it at 300 millimeters a second. FLSun says it can go. Will it not be firmware limited though? Let me have a look. Hold on. So first of all, minimum layer time. Let's go down to 1. Speed. Let's go to 300. Wall speed. Let's go to 200. All right. And let's put our infill down to 8. Slice. Reckons it's doing it in 7 minutes. So it said before that it was doing it in, I think it said before that it was doing it in 12 and it's done it in 16. This is claiming that it'll do it in 7 minutes. I'll go that way instead. No. Why is this being so? There we go. We'll see what it. We'll see what it does. So it was what, half an hour to get that together? Right. Go on then. See how that does at 300 millimeters a second. If it doesn't wreck this thing. The SD card reader is pretty cool, but it's a bugger to get working. Don't forget to anchor the table. We'll see what it does. I mean, the thing is, right, is that the accelerations on this have got to be limited in the firmware. So I can't see how it could do 300 millimeters a second. But hey, I'm just crazy enough to think this might work. Hold on to your hats, boys. There's going to be more shaking. Maybe I should get one of Rick's t-shirts. I avoid warranties. Let's see what it does. See, I would like to get a Super Racer as well, just because we've had the Q5, we've now had the QQ-S Pro. I'd like to see what an SR would do. But to be honest with you, with the SR Pro coming out, I'd rather wait for the SR Pro and see what it does different. When the SR came out, people were really excited about it. Like they really liked it. Okay, so I think what we'll do, we'll stop that for a second because I definitely need to check the level. Any idea when it will come out? No, I don't. So move to 0. Just as a so we were a bit aggressive before. Nope. Right, let's try this again, shall we? Oh. Might have to get because you guys to see through. So I mean, at this point, like, I mean, it's doing its job. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a nice machine. So James, when it comes to the SR Pro, I'll be honest and say I reckon it's 6 months away before they even get out units to people to have them test stuff. Is Mike wearing slippers? More than likely, yeah. He's in his house. Our slippers. So yeah, I would say you're probably looking at about 6 months still until they're ready to send them out to people. Whether or not there's any beta units that go out before that and when they'll actually go on sale, I would imagine tail end of the year. I would be thinking sort of August, September time is probably when they would look to bring it out. But they're not at a point where they're even willing to talk about timelines. So they're still actually working the kinks out before they try and set up production, and then they've got to ship it around the world. I hope, and I have begged them not to do a Kickstarter for obvious reasons. Of Kickstarters are terrible. Yeah, so we might need to stop that one then. I think we might need a bit of 3D lac on that to get that going. When I got the SR Pro was still in development. I would debate that it still is, if I'm honest. I wouldn't have thought that they're anywhere close to being able to say that that's ready to go. Like not even close. Bear me 1 second, callers. Mike, have you got any of the car done?
No.
No.
No, okay. I'm enjoying painkillers too much.
Fair enough. Right. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll end the stream there because clearly 300 millimeters a second is going to need a little bit of work, but we will put it in the review, and we will see how fast we can push it to see what we can get. But I also want it on a stable surface with a little bit of bed prep and everything else, and try and sort out that bed level a little bit. Half an hour to assemble it. And that was, I looked at 3 parts of the instructions and then gave up. The instructions are actually pretty good. I just didn't really need them. The belt should not be too tight or too loose. Brilliant. That's a really helpful. That's a really helpful guide. The bed leveling super easy. Build volume's pretty usable, if I'm fair. If you've got an Ender 3 or a CR10 going spare, fancy making a belt printer, you can get the plans at the 45th degree. So, Rick, we actually have 1 second. We actually have an Ender 3 that we turned into a belt printer. Not from the 45th degree Ender Bender. This is from the Ender 3 belt kit, guys. It works really well, if I'm honest. And the problem is that I've said this before, we just don't have that much of a need to print on the Infinite Z. Like most of the models that we print are already cut and keyed for an Ender. So we would have to we'd have to join them together and then scale them and then cut them so that they would work properly on that. And if I'm honest, yeah, it's just there's a guy has done a video on the side. Yes, so that's Del's Logos. Del's Logos, and he is a friend of this channel. We are incredibly famous people. We know lots of people.
He was on here earlier, I think.
He was on here earlier, yeah. So the Sidewinder kit is really good. He's working out a couple of kinks at the moment, but that isn't to do with the kit, it's to do with the slicing. It's not really liking the infill at the moment, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, he's done the Sidewinder kit, and the Sidewinder kit's really good as well, to be honest. Like they've done a really good job with them. That being said, keep an eye out on the channel. We'll do the full review of the QQ-S. We've got loads of stuff coming up. We have some super secret projects that we have coming up as well. So keep an eye out for some of the super secret things. And we will see you all on the next stream. Thanks so much for joining, guys.
Yeah.